And I suppose each time that you were deployed there would have been a different experience. And that family theme, and I know this because I've had the privilege to work with the military as a contractor, and I understand that in very short periods of time, you become very close to each other when you're out in the field, certainly, and away from home. And I just want to understand a little bit about the first time you went out there.
I remember when we got, actually we were going to deploy to another theatre. We were training to go to Iraq at the time, and I think a political call was made that actually we're going to change and send my battalion to Afghanistan. So we switched our mindset, switched our training focus to Afghanistan, and we only had, I want to say 6 to 8 weeks of training before we went. Usually, you know, 6 months is, you know, the beat-up training ready to deploy on any tour. So we only had weeks to get ready for this, and I don't think we had time to actually let it sink in where we were going and actually understand what country we were going to and what we were going to expect when we got there. We kind of just did our training, focused, and then we arrived. So the first time off the aircraft in Bastion, and the dry, because it was a summertime, and the dry heat hit you, thinking, wow, you know, we didn't have time to go to our usual place, which is Kenya, to train in a similar arid, dry conditions. We just went from, you know, rainy UK to Afghanistan. So the weather and the climate change was definitely a shock to most of us, because we were just instantly sweating from the moment we got off. And I remember being so dry and dusty. And then when we first got to the camp where we were going to, and there was very little there, and it's there, you thought, that's us, this is us for the next 6 months of our life. And actually, with the training, it was very good training, but still, personally, I never knew what would I expect when on my first patrol and things like that, and what the local people were going to be like, and whether they, you know, whether the kids would wave and smile at us being there or not. We didn't really know what was to be expected. So we kind of, you know, first patrol, what you get is usually a familiarisation patrol of the last unit and the change to the new unit. And, you know, we could see that the unit before us had built up a good rapport with the local people. You know, the waves and the smiles were happening. But, you know, you moved a bit further out, and the waves stopped and the smiles stopped. And that's when you knew, you know, it was a serious time and you needed to be kind of on your game, and you don't know what's around the corner. So in that first patrol was when I realised that, you know, this is going to be tough. This is going to be dangerous for the next 6 months. You know, I want to see the end of my tour. I want to, you know, have a good tour as in being professional. And that was the time I knew that this was serious. This wasn't just another tour I'd done in Northern Ireland or Bosnia or wherever I'd been before. This was on a different level.
But you've just said there, Stephen, that you wanted that tour over from the day of your first patrol, which is a little bit of a contradiction, isn't it? And I just want to highlight this because, again, the short periods of time that I've spent working with the military, I understand that camaraderie a lot, and it is incredible as an external person how your head very quickly changes and you feel these bonds that you don't feel actually in the civilian world. But you've just gone into immense danger. How does that work? How does that love for what you do work, but actually you could lose your lives here?
I think on a personal level, you're always going to think insular and think family and think, you know, and you have your feelings and thoughts and emotions, and especially as a leader and as a commander out there, you kind of keep that to yourselves. As a man, generally, I keep those to myself anyway. I know we should speak out more and all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure we'll move on to that. The reason I thought that, wow, this is serious, are you going to survive, is because I think the lack of understanding and the training that we got, although sufficient, We wanted more time. Clearly, you know, more time training is beneficial. But I thought at that time that I didn't know how it would turn out and how serious it would get. But I knew from dot one that the training we had conducted would come to fruition, and we would all do the right thing at the right time and be professional as the British military we think we are. So yeah, it was. I think I was